Hi, this is Dan Lexi from Dan Schultz Outdoors, reminding you to keep the adventures alive. Hey y'all, I'm Johnny.
And I'm Colleen. And we're the Keel Quest. And we want you to keep the adventures alive. Cheers!
Hey, this is Darren from Ride Paddle Repeat, encouraging you to keep the adventures alive.
This is David from Beachley Ironworks saying keep the adventures alive.
I'm Jay. Let's go. From Jay's Way, keep the adventures alive.
Hi, I'm Kevin Collin, the Happy Camper. Remember, keep the adventures alive. Awesome!
Woo, buddy! Shug here! Keep the adventures alive. I am.
Ethan here, the Avid Outdoorsy Guy, reminding you to keep the adventures alive.
We're John and Aaron.
Keep the adventures alive.
Hey everyone, it's Kylan from Lure of the North, and I encourage you to keep the adventures alive.
This is Sky North telling you, keep the adventures alive. And now on with the show.
Tonight's episode of CANOEHOUND'S Outdoor Adventure Show is brought to you by OTG Meals. Fresh, freeze-dried, small-batch meals made for people on the go. Algonquin Outfitters, with 4 key locations in and around Algonquin Park to serve your backcountry needs. Kid Products, stick stoves and reflector ovens proudly made in Canada. And Novacraft Canoes, connecting you with nature in Canadian-made canoes since 1970.
Well, happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. Men and women alike, happy Valentine's Day, and welcome back to another episode of CANOEHOUND'S Outdoor Adventure Show, a show that's going to bring you a lot closer to the great outdoors. My name is Dennis, also known as CANOEHOUND, and if this is your first time here, thanks very much for tuning in. If you're watching this broadcast after the fact, thanks for tuning in and taking the time to give us a view. You know what? We have an interesting show tonight in light of it being Valentine's Day, and I thought I would bring on a few of my favorite backcountry couple YouTubers to have a nice little evening and talk a little bit about the outdoors and why they love the outdoors so much and what it means to their relationships. But before we get on with that, of course, we do have a few announcements, and that gives a lot more time for people to populate the chat over there. So hello to everybody over there in the chat. I see you all in there. Camper 69, Super Good Camping, the Ontario Camping Couple, Lipstick Lodge. That's Linda. Had the pleasure of meeting Linda here this past weekend when I was up north winter camping. Great meeting you there, Linda. Darren Davidson Outdoors and Evan Lefebvre just popped in. So you know what? We're going to have a fun evening, and let's get on with this. For those of you that may have missed last week's show, actually it wasn't last week's show, it was the week before, because like I say, I was away last weekend. But we did it. We had a fantastic show on PFDs and boater safety, and we had 3 great panelists on. We had Camper Christina on, who had just received an award for for being such a good advocate for wearing PFDs. We had an OPP officer and another person on as well, and we all had a great discussion about PFDs, safety, and all that stuff. And they also brought up the whole in progress workings of what's going to be mandated eventually, I guess, that we have to wear our PFDs in a personal watercraft under 6 meters. So, that did raise a lot of controversy. A lot of people left a lot of great comments in the chat, both to and like for and against. But you know what? Really, if you missed that episode, you really do need to go back and watch it. And if you were on the show, go back and check out the show again, just to, or at least the comments, to check out and see some of the comments on there. And feel free to jump in there and add your 2 cents worth, because it is a controversial topic, just like, seatbelts were back in the, 70s, when everything was mandated there that we had to wear seatbelts. Even Kevin Callan put out a really funny video there on Facebook and on Instagram. In Kevin Callan style, he had some fun with it. So by all means, check it out if you haven't already seen it. If you already seen it, go back and check out the comments. It's well worth it. Just to announce, February 24th to 26th is the Toronto Outdoor Adventure Show happening at the International Centre on Airport Road in Toronto. It's going to be a really, really fun event. I expect it's going to be a lot bigger than it was last year, just because people are coming out of their COVID shells now. And you know what? It's going to be a good time. There's a number of past Canoe Hounds Outdoor Adventure Show personalities that will be presenting at the show, including myself. I will be doing a presentation on being prepared for inclement weather. And that's going to be at 2:45 on Saturday on the Adventures in Paddling stage. So if you happen to be there, stop by. Kevin Callan and myself will be hanging around at the Kid Products booth, which is going to be like right beside the stage as it was last year. And you know what? It's a great conjuring spot for anybody that might want to come there and maybe meet some YouTubers that you may watch, or just to talk outdoors. That's the whole idea of it. But yeah, if you do see me there, please stop by and say hi. I might even have a sticker or 2 for you, right? Let's see here. Just to let everybody know, yes, this I'm trying not to make this habit forming, but next week I won't be available for a show either. Mrs. Canoe Hound and I are going on vacation. Yes, going on vacation again, but this time we're going with some other family members, and going to be down in Mexico for a few days. So there won't be a show next week, but we will return on the 28th of February, which I believe, is that leap year? There's leap year to 29th. There's no 29th this year, so it's not leap year, but we will be back on February 28th. And we'll probably be talking about the Toronto Outdoor Adventure Show quite a bit in that episode. So you might want to tune in for that. Let's see here. As I always do, I have to acknowledge my channel members, and I have to say thank you very much for their support. I'm just going to let their names drift across the bottom there. But if anybody's interested in becoming a Canoe Hound adventurer, feel free to check out that join button down there and maybe just give it a look. If it's something that's for you, great. If it's not, great, not a problem. And all these people have been supporting Canoe Hound Adventures for quite a long time, and I'll tell you, they're part of the reason why this show goes, is because they help cover the cost of producing. But yada yada, that's something that we talk about all the time, right? Let's see here. We're going to get into our birthday wishes. Because I didn't have last week, I'm including some of last week's birthdays as well. But let's get into this. We got happy 57th birthday to Art Brutsky. His daughter made sure I had this announcement tonight, so happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to PJ Justison from the Friends of Temagami. Happy 31st birthday to Eric Hetzer. Yes, Eric Hetzer is 31. And a very special birthday wish to a longtime YouTube buddy and the very first guest I had on Canoe Hounds Outdoor Adventure Show back when I was thinking about doing this show. A good old friend, Stein North. Stein North hasn't been well of late, and I'm happy he's celebrating a birthday. So when he does watch this, which I know he watches after the fact all the time, Stein, keep up the fight. And happy birthday to you, my friend. Let's see here. Just going to get rid of this off the bottom here. Thanks again to my channel members. And then, yeah, if anybody has any special wishes that they'd like to share with us, any good news, announcements, stuff like that, drop me an email at canoehound@gmail.com. And I would love to get that announcement on here and just make you one big part of the special family here, right? And then again, also, if you have any hot topics or guests you'd like to see on the show, same email right there. And I will get back to you. I answer all my emails. So make sure you send me an email, say hi. Even if you don't have something that you want to, see on the show or whatever, just drop me an email, say hi. What the hell? And let's see here. One last thing before we get on with tonight's guests. We, just like every week, it's an interactive show. So if this is your first time here, don't be afraid to ask questions. Just put them in the chat over there, but put the word question in capitals before your question. That will allow me to at least start and bring it up at some other point in the show. If it's a question that's really pertinent to the conversation, feel free to post it again. Just don't get spammy on there or nothing like that. By all means, please do get your questions on, and we'll try to get them up on screen. But also after 8 o'clock, you'll have the opportunity to join on panel. Say hi to one of these great couples that we're going to have on panel with us tonight, and ask your questions. Tell a story. You know what? Share your favorite. Come on and share your favorite Valentine's or your favorite maybe trip memory that you've had with your loved one. That would be fantastic. Let's share the love tonight. Let's share the love tonight. Okay, enough of that. Let's get in with tonight's topic. Tonight, in light of it being Valentine's Day, I only thought it would be fitting that I would bring on, as I mentioned earlier, some of my favorite YouTube couples, channels that I'm really watching right now. The first couple that I'm going to have on panel here, or all three are coming up, but first couple, they've been on the show a few times in the past. You know what? They're a fun-loving couple. Their hearts are in the right places, and I consider them very, very, very good friends. So let's welcome to the live stream. We got Brittany and Teunis.
Hey, Dennis.
Look at you, little birds.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Good, you.
Good. I think I read somewhere, married 3 years.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Feels like forever,
awesome.
though. Just kidding.
Feels like forever. Oh, Teunis, you're the one that's supposed to be saying that, right?
Yeah, I guess that's hard.
Awesome. Our next couple have a newer growing YouTube channel called The Beauty of the Backcountry. Please welcome to the show. We got Jay and Sheri. Hey.
Hey,
Hey, friends. Howdy.
Hey.
Oh, you two. Are you two married?
We are not.
In the eyes of the state, we certainly are. Yes, we pay our taxes.
Okay, that's all that
All
matters.
matters, yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
And let's get our last panelist up here. Another growing YouTube channel that showcases all their outdoor adventures from the YouTube channel Tents and Timbers. We have Alex and Jess.
Hey.
How are we doing?
Awesome. Very good. Very good.
How are you doing?
We're doing very good.
Awesome. Everybody check out their tans. They just got back from Cancun. They just got back from where I'm heading tomorrow. So yeah. How was the weather down there? Was it nice?
Oh, it's phenomenal.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Can't complain.
Although it's not that much different down here. So
I know, right? Isn't that crazy? Yeah, we're kind of like down in southern Ontario, and we have no snow here.
none.
I'm sure Teunis and Brittany, you guys have snow up there, right?
We have snow, but it was plus 10 today.
Yeah, it's not cold weather. It's just lots of snow.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. So all three of you have something in common. And can you guess what it is?
Ball and chain.
All three of you, well, now all three of you are on Keel's Outdoor Adventure Show, but all three of you were guests on Keel Quest's Backcountry Couples, were you not?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was my second.
It's funny. I was talking with Johnny and Colleen there through chat, and they were saying, make sure you let them know that all three of them were on there and stuff. Right? So I'm going to do a shout out to our good friends Johnny and Colleen, who have a live stream show much like this here, and they bring on Backcountry Couples, and they're Thursdays, I believe, right?
Thursdays, yeah.
Thursday evenings. So you know what? They need a lot more viewers than they are getting on their channel. Their numbers are creeping up, but you know what? It's very common to what we do here, and it's a lot of fun. it's a way to kill an evening, right?
They are a good time, man. They
And
are a
I
good
think
time.
they were just in Mexico.
They were.
Yeah, they were just on holidays too. Yeah. So let's get a few questions out of the way here. So Teunis and Brittany, you guys have been together for 3 years.
Married 3.
What's your bond with the outdoors? Did it start like well before your married days or your courting days, or
Dating for sure. So again, like I grew up doing a lot of hunting and fishing and stuff. She grew up doing a lot of stuff up there in Timmins, but canoe tripping was the main thing that we discovered together. So as I introduced her to like the hunting side of things and more of the fishing, we both had a desire to get in the boat, and then the rest is history. So we fell in love with it while we fell in love with each other. And
took a couple of years though before we actually did anything outdoors together, because I was a student when we met, so there was just not a lot of time to actually do things. Figured it out.
Oh, so you're still going to paramedic school, right?
Yeah, sorry, we were in college. So I was just finishing up my advanced care paramedic, and she was doing her primary care, which is the first stage.
So that was my first year of school, and he was...
Yeah, and I was teaching for volunteer hours in case I was going to go to med school. And then I met her, and then dragged her butt down to where I work. And
so you were like one of her teachers. Isn't that illegal in some states?
He wasn't on payroll.
Volunteer. 21, leave me alone.
You said you're a volunteer and you weren't being paid, so it's
I think it was fine. Yeah. People were aware of it, so it's not like we were being sneaky.
Yeah, that's funny.
In the end.
How about you, Jay? Sheri, what's your story? Were you both outdoorsy people before you actually met?
I was definitely outdoorsy. I was born and raised here in Sault Ste. Marie. We call it the Sioux. Probably everybody knows that.
Yeah.
And I grew up on a country road north of the city. So I grew up in the bush. And Sheri grew up in Southern Ontario.
Yeah. We did camping at parks, but not a lot of backcountry camping. So together we've kind of discovered the backcountry adventures in Northern Ontario, and we're having a good time doing that.
Yeah, I've rekindled my love of the outdoors, and Sheri and I have really become a lot closer, just getting out into the wilderness away from other humans, really.
Yeah. And so we met at work. We work together. So it's tough for us to get out on long trips. So we do a lot of 4-day trips. And we've been together 7 years, I think.
Just about 8 years, yeah.
4-day trips are better than no day trips, right? So
yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's cool. And who was the one that initiated the first hey, let's go out and do a bit of backcountry camping?
It's tough to say, but I'm going to say it was probably me. I would think probably me. But so Sheri's always been super supportive. We have this little camp, this little off-grid hunt camp out in the middle of the forest. And Sheri's always been super. I never used it as much as I should have. It was handed down to me by my grandfather when I was 16. And I never used it as much as I should, but Sheri was really encouraging and said, do you want to go out to the camp? Do you want to go out to the camp? And so that I think was probably, so maybe I'll take that back. It was Sheri's impetus.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that's the camp you invited me out to there in the green room, wasn't it? You said, come on up to my camp one day.
Absolutely, brother. Yeah, absolutely. If you can find it, or actually we'll drop you in there, and then if you can find your way out.
Oh, I can do that. I can do that. That's one thing I'm good with is direction, so I got no problem there.
Awesome.
Yeah, you can even spin me around and get me dizzy, and it's still fine with me. So, yeah. No, you know what? I think that was one of the first times you and I chatted, I think, by, I don't know, on Instagram or something like that. And you were talking about your cabin, and then you had a video of you two walking up and you were talking about it and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's cool.
Yeah.
That's nice. So tents and timber, what's your story? Who was the outdoorsy person in this relationship, or were you both the outdoorsy people?
I think I probably started, maybe initiated a little bit in the beginning. Up until we met, Jess had never really been camping. So
yeah, I never did no car camping or anything. I didn't really go carpet camping until we started dating, so 1920. So Yeah,
Not the
later
year
start.
Yeah. You got the start. That's the main thing, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing how many people actually do connect over the outdoors, right? It's so now who primarily does the planning of your trips now? Are you right in there, Jess, or are you is it still Alex's kind of thing?
It depends on the trip, and we both kind of brainstorm together, and there's tons of maps in the house, and I know it's picking the destination and then what route we can figure out.
So yeah, it's pretty much a joint effort. Jess has picked out the last couple of routes that we've done, and like the West Coast Trail when we did that in BC,
that's my crazy idea.
that was all her. So
that was pretty ambitious. That was it.
A little bit, but it was awesome. Highly recommended.
Yeah, that's one thing I'd like to start doing is maybe a little bit more hiking too. I really love canoeing, but hiking is something I'd like to dig into a little more. But I got this one problem is I can't get my backpack under like 65, 70 pounds. I talk about it all the time on the show. My buddies call my backpack Big Red, and they call it Big Red for a reason. It's because I have all the gear. And I don't like leaving any of it at home, right? It's, I got all the comforts out there, no matter where I go or how deep you go. So
yeah, that's been one thing we've had to adjust. When we did the West Coast Trail, our backpacks were ridiculous, like yours, like Big Red. Actually, Jess's was Big Blue.
Yeah.
And definitely way too much weight. And we've been really working on getting that weight down, and it's been a lot of fun. So we kind of have, canoe camping as one where we bring everything, and then backpacking where we try and do the minimalist kind of style.
Right. And now your adventure is actually like you're into this full bore, I guess we could say, because I've been watching your series on your whitewater lessons that you're taking and stuff like that up on what's in Quebec.
That was the Noir River.
Noir River, yeah, okay. So you guys are right into. I gotta get rid of that. You two are really into to getting to learn all this stuff, right? So that's is that something you plan on doing? Is a lot more whitewater in your future?
Oh, we'd like to mix it up. Like as I said, like we started out car camping together, and then we moved into backcountry camping, just the two of us, and then we've tried backpacking, and now last year we did our first whitewater. So it's just up for trying anything and seeing what we like the most. And I think we're just gonna, like, first thing in the spring we're going backpacking, and then we're gonna do a canoe trip, and then we might even try like some overlanding like John and Colleen do from Cool Quest or whatever, right? So
Yeah.
Try it all.
So you know what that means, right, Jess? That means he needs to buy either a bigger truck or he's got to buy himself a Subaru. That's his way of saying, "Hey, honey, we got to get the vehicle."
Bring on the gear.
Yeah.
How about you, Jane? Sheri, you guys being located up in the Sioux, these opportunities to get out into the backcountry are a little more convenient for somebody like yourselves because it's like right out your doorstep, right? What's an adventure like to you? Is it like just driving a half an hour away, or does an adventure start for you like it does for me, 4 hours away or 5 hours away?
It can start, like I said, like 10 minutes out of, like if we walk out of our door here, get in a car, 10 minutes, we are in the wilderness. So we could just walk, and we could you're on Crown land, and you could just camp kind of wherever you want. And so that's 10 minutes away. But a lot of the spots we like to camp are a little bit farther. We're about a 45-minute drive from the Lake Superior Coastal Trail that we did a lot of hiking. I think we exhausted our need for hiking this year by doing the Lake Superior Coastal Trail 3 times. And
wow.
We don't need to hike anymore. We're canoers again. That's
although we have a lot of trips planned and they're not close to us. Jay prefers not to drive. He doesn't like to travel in the car, but there's a lot of great trips. Like we did Wolf Lake in Temagami, and absolutely beautiful. And we're looking to do some further north trips, like Pucksaw, maybe Steel River, stuff like that. So that's still quite a ways. Like even though we're up north is very vast.
It is vast. Yeah. Like, so the Steel River is about 5 hours drive, that's far because there's so much we can do here within an hour of a drive. But yeah.
Yeah. That dumbfounds me, like I hear you say, we had to go to Temagami area, right? So you're actually coming kind of southeast to go canoe, where I have to go north to get anywhere to get to Temagami or Wolf Lake area. So yeah, I wish. Jess and Alex, you guys wish you were a little closer to the north?
All the time,
All the
100%.
time.
Yeah, considering we don't have any snow right now, I'd love to go somewhere where I can actually go ice fishing.
The invite is extended. There's ice here, lots.
There's nothing here.
How big is that cabin that you have? Will it fit all of us?
It's big enough if we go too wide, too high.
There you go. Start stacking.
Call Top
And
on.
I got an Esker too, so I don't mind sleeping on that. I'd be good with that. Which, by the way, if anybody's looking for an Esker, I might be selling my Esker 10. So just saying, just putting that out there. Keep an eye on Facebook. Teunis and Brittany, now you kind of have the opposite of what they have. You're north, but you're like on the outer cusp of sort of like Algonquin Park, right? So you have
we're on the northeast corridor. Yeah. From the river to Mountain.
You have that big playground, and you utilize it quite a bit, obviously.
Yeah, there's tons of crowd, and same thing. We have a hunt camp or a couple hunt camps within 10-15 minutes of us, and then within a half hour we're playing in the woods doing something. And then if you drive, hour, 2 hours, you're just more in the woods. So it's good.
Yeah. Do you tend to be going into Algonquin Park a lot, or are you just on the outer reaches, like trying to find the crown land out around there?
Canoe season all the time. On shoulder seasons and stuff, usually on the outskirts, just because fishing's closed, becomes sanctuary. So with that, right, that's a big part of what we like to do. So we'll be looking at the nooks and crannies in the crown land areas or elsewhere in that time. And in the winter, we haven't been really into the park besides hiking. We thought about doing maybe a couple like overnighters or whatever in the hot tent, but we like to again incorporate the ice fishing with that, right? Which again you can't do in the winter. So we have plans to head north one day towards Timmins or Red Lake area, go to some of those provincial parks where you are allowed to fish in the winter, but just didn't work out this year.
Yeah, so you two must take advantage of the year pass for Algonquin. Or do you
surprisingly not? You should probably look into that.
Yeah, you might want to look into that if you're going in there paddling often, and I'm not sure how they actually work, but I know a lot of
big trips end up going there. Sometimes like for just on like if we only have a couple days off, we'll do something like on the border of Algonquin, so we don't need like we don't actually go into the park. We're just kind of around it. So I don't know. I guess maybe we don't go in as often as we think we do.
Or we go covert off where like it's bushwhacking to a lake where there's nothing and you're not camping there, but you make a day trip out of it kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, we're just passing through. We're just passing through.
Just exploring.
Yeah. Let's see here. From another camping couple here, we're asking, what's the longest trip all of you have planned or one you're most excited for in 2023? Who wants to start with that? We'll start with Alex and Jess. What's your longest trip that you've done, or what have you got planned that's long?
The longest trip that we ever done was the West Coast Trail, but we made it. We didn't need to be that long, but since we were flying all the way to BC, we made it long trip. So we ended up staying for 8 nights on the trail. But we could have done it faster, but we wanted to enjoy it because the scenery there was just absolutely phenomenal. I've never seen anything like it. Like seeing whales and bald eagles and stuff every day was insane to us since we don't really have those where we are. But for 2023, we're hoping to do like an East Coast trip. We'd brought a bunch of books and maps actually down south to Cancun with us, and we were hoping to have started planning for that while we were down there, but that didn't end up working out at all. So we haven't started planning it. So we're open to ideas and suggestions for an East Coast adventure.
Is that too many beers I heard?
Yeah. How about you, Sheri and Jay?
I think our longest trip that we have planned to date was the Ranger Lake route, and we planned for it to be 10 days, and we finished it, I think, in 8. So that's the longest trip that we've planned so far.
Yeah, it's like it's one of those trips where, depending on conditions, it could be shorter or longer. Like portages are grown over. We paddled against a pretty high water season, but we push. Like we found this out about ourselves over the years of camping. Like we like to move. If we take a day off, it is a day off, and like shoes don't go on, pants might not even go on. You never know. But like we take a day off. But there's no like easy days. It's like we go from sun up to sunset, and we slog as hard as we can because we just kind of enjoy that. And then so we did it in 8 days, and we probably could have let it slide a little bit longer, but and we have a couple other trips next year planned for the same. So for us, the toughest thing for us is because we do work together at the same place, and it's a great place to work, and they're so accommodating for us. It's still tough to get away for more than a week at a time. So like you have a weekend and then a week and then a weekend, and that's kind of us.
Yeah, I think
hence those 4-day trips, right? Or those 4-day getaways.
But this summer, we're looking forward to some pretty fun canoe routes and canoe trips. We did a lot of backpacking last year with some friends and family, so we're really excited to get back into the canoe this year.
Back in the canoe. My shoulders are still a little bit sore from.
Now you know what a woman feels like with bra straps on all the time. Right?
I suppose not all of them.
Yeah, she's always complaining, right? So, Teunis and Brittany, how about you guys? What's the longest you've done, or what have you got planned that might be a longer trip in the future?
Well, the longest trip we've done is our cross Canada trip. We actually started from New Brunswick all the way to Yukon, and we took 2 months to do that. It wasn't necessarily like a canoe trip, but it was a driving camping trip. We did a lot of like provincial national parks along the way. We had a canoe trip in there. We did
the Yukon River from Carmax to Dawson City, 400 clicks for a week.
Nice.
And then the rest of that, most of it was car camping just to accommodate the travel. But on those days, we go explore rivers and stuff that were close by and do some fly fishing or whatever else. And yeah, it's a good time. And then trip wise, 12 days would be the longest for that.
in Algonquin.
Nope, French River.
French River.
But you two have the same problem as Jay and Sheri. You work together, right? Is it hard to get time off together at the same time? Because often you fight each other in the same unit, right?
Yeah,
it's actually super easy for us.
So I'm full time. So she's casual, but works full time hours. So she's high enough in seniority that she gets to pick her shifts, and she just matches my schedule. So my time off is her time off.
Mm-hmm.
And then similar to them, like it's shift work. So like we get a lot bigger blocks. Like I'm about to get 7 in a row off a month. So like that would be like our canoe trip a month kind of thing, or some kind of big adventure.
Nice.
And then on the 2s and 3s that we're off is when we go for like an overnight or, whatever we can squeeze in there, but it ends up being more local, right? Those 7 might be a trip that's further away, and then vacation would accommodate the ones where we travel.
Like the big ones, yeah.
Yeah.
But we're super fortunate to have like a flexible schedule like we do.
Totally. Yeah, for sure.
And like we do so much overtime with our job that like overtime we're allowed to like
bank
our hours to use as time off. So we usually get a lot of overtime hours that we can use for vacation.
Yeah.
That's great. That's nice. It's nice when you can do that, right?
Yeah, it's got its perks, like any job.
Yeah. So now, you two work like quite literally beside each other. So Jay and Sheri, are you the same way? You said you actually work together. It's funny because my wife and I work together too, right? And we have for probably 20 years now. Back. Yeah. A long story short, yeah, we've worked together side by each for like 20 years now, and it's you really have to have a good understanding for each other, or in my wife's case, a really good tolerance. Great.
Sheri and I have worked together.
No, you know what? My wife is very forgiving for that. So What's that, Jay?
We've worked together for almost 18 years. Now, we haven't been together for 18 years, but it drove us together, I think.
But we work like our desk circles, but we don't work super often on
same projects or whatever, but our desks, my office is right beside her office. So I can hear when her computer is giving her problems. She tells me new words.
But you guys get to have some space sometimes.
Kind of. There's a wall.
A vehicle side by side.
You guys are right side by side.
Oh yeah.
It's not that bad. What are we talking about?
It's funny because right where I'm sitting, like right here, quite literally, I had this desk and another desk right beside it. And my wife and I years ago used to own a bridal directory for the Niagara and Hamilton areas, right? And we building that business quite literally sitting right here beside each other when I was laid off from work, and we got that all going. And then one thing led to another, got us into the business we're in now and stuff. And so, yeah, we quite literally work with each other day in and day out. But she has her office and I have my office, and we walk by, high five each other once in a while and stuff like that. Well, the romance is still there, right? Well, how about you, Al? Yes, you don't work together, do you? Are we missing something here?
No, don't work together.
Okay. How did the two of you meet? Can I ask?
We met originally in high school.
Oh.
Yeah.
But we didn't start dating till after we started like a big friend group, went car camping a lot. And then that's how we kind of got closer, I guess, was actually camping. So then we started dating just after we finished high school.
Right.
So yeah, it's been 16.
Yep.
16 years since we've been started dating, but we've been married for 6.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So again, I want to go around the table here and ask you what the allure is to you about being in the backcountry, and what makes it so special to be with each other, as opposed to maybe like Alex going out with his buddy or Jess going out. You know what I mean? So Alex and Jess, we'll start with you two. What's the allure of going out there together? The experience of being in the backcountry together.
We can do it our way, I guess. Like when I go out with the guys or whatever, it's just it's more of like a party-esque type of style. And when we go, it's just a lot quieter, smoother. We know what each other is, we have like a good system down. When we get to campsite, she unpacks the tent and I do this, and vice versa. So it's just a lot quieter, and it's really a good time to kind of relax and just kind of
just disconnect from everything and just, I don't know, just be in nature, and it's quiet, and it's just part of something that we just love so much together. It's just, it's awesome to experience it.
Something about the backcountry that just sets a romantic mood, no matter what the conditions are out there, right?
Yeah, with the little.
I don't mean like romance in the typical sense, but I mean like it's just something about you can be so relaxed out there. You can be so open. Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
Cool. Sheri, Jay?
I think originally for us, it was a place to get away and just decompress. Like, I have a hard time shutting off. Even when I'm home on a weekend, there's always something, right? A chore or something to do. And we found that being in the backcountry just kind of connects us more. We're bonded more. And we both enjoy like every part of it, like just the nature, the flowers, the birds. We're just every year more and more. We can't wait for spring to get out into the backcountry. I mean, we go out in the winter also, but it's a lot quieter. So for me, it's just been that centering and the bond that we've created, that we have that together. And it's super romantic. He looks really good at plaid, so.
Yeah. Something about outdoorsy clothes on a pretty woman, right? That's okay.
You should see some of the skimpy merino wool that we got.
That's a different show, I think.
Yeah, it's not on YouTube. We have an OnlyFans that you guys.
I didn't want to say it. Should be
what's the allure to you? What's the backcountry for you as a couple?
I think a combination of both what these guys have just said, because again, we have a pretty stressful job, so it's nice to, like, when you go out in the backcountry, it is just me and him. That we have no choice but to just be quiet and not do something.
Well, you're sharing it with your best friend. Like, I don't know. It's just, for me, they said there's no wondering if you have a good time when you're both on the same page and appreciate the same small things, down from the, like, peace and quiet to, like you said, the birds, the fish, whatever else. And
we know each other's pace. Like, again, we know each other very well. We know if someone's getting frustrated, tired, or whatever. There doesn't need to be, like, I don't know, dialogue between each other. Like, we know when to slow down. We know when to speed up.
Yeah.
It's just very cohesive. Is that the right word?
And on that too, though, like, she's my first pick, not just saying that because I have to. She's my first pick because, like, she doesn't complain. Like, you can take this into the deepest, darkest hole with, tens of thousands of mosquitoes. There's not one. It's all smiles. Like, she always finds the positive, and that also brings me up. And I don't know.
Helps your crappy butt.
Oh gosh, here we go. Okay.
She likes to really dig in there. Trying to be nice.
Just kidding.
Isn't it funny though, like how, and I'm sure everybody could attest to this, where the small things that could irritate you at home, when you get out into the backcountry, that same thing is, like, not a non-issue. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, there's something stupid like not putting a toothpaste cap on, or something silly. Going to the firebox and having the toilet paper rolled inwards rather than outwards. Right? It's the little things, they just don't bother you out there, right?
No,
Jay has something to say about
still
toilet
pisses
paper.
me off. He's joking.
Oh man! So you've all tripped enough now to have had, like, I'm sure, a rather significant moment out there in the backcountry that has been, like, you remember this. It's that moment that is, like, probably the nicest. It could be a sunset or after a rainfall. What is it for you, Teunis and Brett? What's the most romantic or the most memorable thing on a trip that you two have experienced? It doesn't even have to be a romantic thing, but.
Well, definitely would have to be somewhere in Woodland Caribou, just between the sunsets and that being also our first trip. Ice out in the spring, like, it was just a magical time of year. And
there's also something about nights. When a night is super, super calm, there's, like, no noises, but just, like, maybe the faint little crickets and stuff going on, and it is just, like, a full sky of stars, and, like, we can enjoy that together without anyone else. I don't know. I feel like that's one of, like, my favorite moments.
Yeah, just look up and talk or not talk, whatever the case is, and enjoy
Especially
it.
in the winter. I feel like winter nights are just silent and beautiful.
Yeah, for sure.
My favorite.
Cool. Sheri and Jess. Or Jay, sorry.
Hey, wait. Are you guys starting a channel together? Alex, what the heck, man?
Well, you knew I had to trip over a name once at least tonight. So.
I have two favorites. I'm going to go first because
Sheri's going first.
Our very, very first backpacking trip together was to Lake Superior Provincial Park at Warp Bay. And we got in late. We were late. We were rookies, and it was already, like, dusk. So we took a walk out to the beach and just took, like, 10-minute break and just looked up at the stars. And that was one of my favorite. But I think one of my most recent favorite moments together was it was probably the last night or the second last night of our Ranger Lake trip. I remember looking into the blackness of the night, and I could hear the frogs, like, hear the peepers and the birds. And I was like, I'm going to miss this when I'm home. Like, I remember thinking.
Yeah. And we had just put in that one. That's one of my favorites too. But we had just put in one of the most hellish days coming down the Nushtagani River. Just basically, it's just a series of log jams, which means bushwhack portages after bushwhack portage. And so we had put in a day, and it was about 12 hours in, and we just sat there just defeated and but the peepers were out, and we had a fire, and it was like we can get through anything. And I wouldn't have wanted to do it with anybody else. Well, maybe like I don't know, maybe if Hap Wilson was around, maybe him. But besides that,
You'll probably meet Hap at the Outdoor Adventure Show this year, so make sure you bring a book for signing, right?
That would be awesome.
Yeah, wasn't it you that got the whole collection of books?
Yeah, Sheri.
Including a second edition Temagami Canoe Routes book. My gosh.
Sheri was Santa was really good to me this year. So I got some signed copies of Hap books. He even he personalized it and stuff. So basically we're already chums.
He usually puts a cartoon drawing in there, like holding a paddle but sinking in the water and stuff like that. Yeah, I've got a few autographs like that too. But that book, I'm trying to find that book myself because that was my very first Temagami book that I ever had off from Hap. I'm on like my third edition now. But yeah, man, and that's the one that's worth money. That one there, I put in a plastic bag and put it.
Well, geez, I was about to give you my address. I don't know if I am now.
No, I'm a trustworthy fellow. I really am. Alex and Jess, so what's some of your favorite moments that you've had out there in the backcountry?
Favorite moments? Well, the whole BC trip was amazing. As I said, like just being able to wake up, looking out over the ocean with whales and bald eagles and seals and everything swimming by. But one of our most, memories that it wouldn't normally stick in someone's head as probably like your favorite memory. But we did a canoe trip in Killarney and we were just right in the middle of this huge lake. And we're like, okay, we got to make it across this big lake. There's no wind. And we got about halfway and the skies just like unleashed this ridiculous rainstorm. And it was just straight down. There was no wind, but we were bailing the canoe and we just had to paddle as hard as we could. And we got to the other side and luckily we came around a bend and there was a boathouse that kind of came out of nowhere. And we just pulled right in that boathouse and sat there for like an hour while this storm just like pounded around us. And that was probably like one of my favorite moments during a canoe trip. And we just sat there soaking wet. Like it was warm, so we were comfortable.
Yeah, we ended up having lunch and we were just soaked in our bathing suits in the canoe and just hung out and life was easy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And Jess, you share the same favorite, or do you have your own favorite?
No, that's a great one. I think one of ones that sticks out for me is our Temagami loop that we did, like going through Wolf Lake and everything. That entire trip for me was awesome. Like, I don't know, every trip is just stellar, right? So it's so hard to be like, oh, this is my favorite. But Temagami would be a recent absolute favorite for me.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. One of my favorite things is, when the evening hits and you're just sitting by the campfire and everybody gets silent, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a trip with my wife, but it could be a trip with the boys or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not like a romantic thing, but it's just that when everybody is quiet and all you hear is the crackle of the fire and whatever, the peepers or whatever it might be, right? Just the sounds. And I always go, hey guys, hear that? And they go, what? I go, listen, nothing. Right?
Yeah,
we'll get that in the city.
Yeah, like I really like actually the opposite, waking up in the morning when it's quiet and then listening to like the forest come alive and like then the birds start chirping. You can tell, okay, there's the chickadees, they start first and then this bird will start. That's kind of what I really enjoy.
That tells me you wake up early in the backcountry.
We do.
Yeah.
Well, that's everyday life.
The alarm goes off at 5:30 every morning.
Our alarm goes off at 6.
Now we're at our desks at 7. So.
Oh dear.
Wow. Yeah. I'm quite the opposite. The first 2 days, maybe 3 days of a trip, I'm always the first one up. I'm the guy that's piddling around and I'll go get the water for the kettle and stuff like that. But after like the third day, when I really get in there, yeah, the first cast, you know, guys wake up and I've already got 2 fish landed or something, right? But then like come third day, it's like I'm so relaxed. It's like I don't want to get out of my hammock. I'm just like stretched. It's like, hey, is the coffee ready yet? Yeah, no, that's cool. Let's see here. So we'll start with Brittany Teunis. What was your first backcountry trip? What did you do? Where did you go?
So that was Woodland Caribou back in 2017. Yeah, for a week.
It was kind of a silly thing to choose, but ended up being like the best decision we ever did.
Oh, for sure it was. Yeah.
When Algonquin is literally 10 minutes from our doorstep, we're like, nah, let's just drive 20 million hours to go to Woodland Caribou.
So for me, because my dad was military, so I grew up around Algonquin because of Petawawa. So dad would always bring me in there, and in my mind, I thought it was a very busy place when really it's not. So I was like, oh, yeah, let's pick the farthest place on a map where like I think people won't be. And it ended up being Red Lake. So, oh, that seems fun. And I think I've said the story before, but no canoe experience other than like her paddling around in Timmins maybe with her dad for a little, you know.
Yeah, just on a lake, you know, like nothing crazy.
Yeah, and same thing for me with my grandparents living on a lake, just paddling around their bay. That's the only canoe experience, no portaging, nothing other than, again. So that's where I thought I was avid because of the camping and hunting and stuff that I've done. I was like, oh yeah, like I'm savvy in the bush.
We had a new to us dog who had never been near a lake or in a canoe or anything. We're like, nah, we'll bring our 70-pound dog with us. It's fine.
So pack up the dog, pack up Britt, pack up all the stuff. Talk to Harlan Schwartz from Red Lake Outfitters, who hooked us up with the canoe and stuff. And again, I think I've said it before, but like the look on his face when he said that exact question. So where are you guys from? And like, what's your experience? So like, oh, this is our first trip. Ice out, you know, May 10th or 12th of whatever up there. It's like, wow, baptism by fire. And then that's when it finally hit me that I may have made a mistake. So the drive in was 2.5 hours, 3 hours on a logging road. And that's when I had time to dwell on my
And as soon as you hit that road too, I remember like looking at my phone and being like, oh shoot, like
no
we
cell
have
service.
no more service. Like this is it. We're going.
So like Britt's sitting there like happy, ready to go. Nothing's changed in her mind, but here I am kind of stressing a bit. And then up until we hit the water, and then once we set sail, I was like, oh no, we got this. Like
once we knew the dog wasn't gonna panic in the boat.
Ava did great. Like she just sat there and she's a natural. And then like I said, as soon as we set off, it was like we were meant to be, and like all that stress went away. And said, oh no, like
I did burn his shoes the first night, which was a little bit of a mistake, but they were still wearable.
There was just enough ankle support that I was able to tie it to wear it. So like it could have very easily been, because we also didn't.
Just let out. What's your favorite oops moment? No.
That would be it.
It's funny you mentioned that. You know that like you know you said you live close to Algonquin. Maybe it was a mistake that you went to Woodland Caribou when you live so close to Algonquin. I'm a stone's throw from Niagara Falls, and I could care less to see the falls.
Yeah.
But if you take me up north and you take me to Algonquin Park and throw me at New Lake, and I go see Provoking Falls, which is all of what 2.5 feet down.
Yeah.
Right. I'm taking pictures, and I got to stand there for like half hour, 45 minutes, gawking at the beauty of it. When I got like one of the seven wonders of the world in my back door.
I think it's what you're conditioned to, right? Like that's what the complacency.
It's true.
Yeah, because like you said, everyone goes to Algonquin. I actually remember when we first bought our first canoe, and there was a couple from Toronto, and they were like, wow, like they're like, you guys are so north, and I'm like, you mean like east? Like what? Like they were just so like blown away with the beauty, and to them that's the great north. The way they were talking, they're like, yeah, like you're so far up here, and blah blah blah, and it's
I consider myself south.
Compared
to like I'm from Timmins originally, so
right. Yeah,
not north.
It's all perspective, right? So
okay. So let me get this right. So you're from Timmins, and you two met in like school, right?
Sudbury, yeah.
You left home to go to school, and that's how you met. Okay.
Yeah, both went to school in Sudbury at Cambrian College.
Cool. Okay. Awesome. Sheri and Jay, same question for you two. What's the first trip that you actually took?
So aside from a camp, like a trip to my camp or our camp, would have been the hiking trip.
Yeah, we did a backpacking trip to Port Bay, but I think our first one of our first canoe trips was Midgeon. We did a loop.
Okay, so Lake Midgeon, which is a lake in Lake Superior Provincial Park.
Yeah, and we decided to. We had followed Brad and Leah, and they did this loop. That's not a loop, and we thought, well, if we do it earlier in the spring, it will be a loop. So that was one of our biggest, I think, canoe adventures. Was from Lake Midgeon to Old Woman Lake, and then to Gamma to Gamma.
Yeah, so it's a loop that kind of follows it makes sense until you get to Gamma Lake, and then from Gamma Lake, there's a river. It used to be called the Angigami River, but it is barely a creek anymore. And so we had seen that they had tried this, or they did this made a loop out of it. They definitely said at the end of their video, "This is not a loop. Don't do this." But we did it anyway. Yeah. And we were like, "Wow, it can't be that bad. Maybe in May or early June, it won't be so bad." It was really, really, it was bad. It was really tough, and like I think. When you get, I don't know about anybody else, but when you get sort of frustrated and maybe a little bit tired, you start to get a little bit short and you start moving things faster and with more force than you need to. So I actually, out of a portage, coming up to a portage that wasn't marked, I just pulled the canoe and upset the whole darn thing and just dumped Sheri right into the beaver pond.
Oops. And there's their oops moment.
Yeah.
Choose oops in the canoe. Okay.
I apologized, and everything is good. But yeah, it was challenging. It was one of those ones where it was starting to get dark, and there was no trail. There is no trail on this. It was just like sort of like marking your bearing and just trying to follow, because there wasn't even a creek to follow. And we're going through like 8-foot high alders, which are just impossible. I literally took the canoe over my head and just kind of balanced it on top of the alders and pushed it through the last couple hundred meters. And it was just like, I was that close to just basically living in the bush. I actually started talking about forwarding our mail to the Angigami River. Look, we live here now. This is it. We're going to make it. Anyway.
That was first, I think, one of our first backcountry adventures. And if you asked us today, would you do that trip again? We would absolutely. But I want to ask Teunis, if you ever feel, because I think sometimes when we're out in the backcountry, there's no cell service. There's nobody to help you if anything goes wrong. I feel like Jay gets a little stressed if he feels responsible to get me out safe. And I don't know if you guys ever feel that on your trips.
Sorry, I missed half the question because
the audio got funky there.
Do you ever worry if you're in a backcountry? Do you worry that you're responsible for Britt to get her out safe?
I feel I'm more worried than he's worried because if I get hurt, he can just chuck me over his shoulder and like away we go. If he gets hurt,
I'm 250 pounds
we're
of dead
in big
weight.
trouble.
Yeah, which we've already had a scare, so I put an axe in my foot at the beginning of COVID. Yeah, so we were clearing a bush lot that we hunt at. We were just clearing some oak and got ahead of myself and slammed a felling axe into the top of my foot and caused a lot of arterial, venous, and tendon damage to the point where she pretty much had to be my crutch for a half-K walk through 2.5 foot of snow. And trying to get our coworkers and stuff was a big ordeal to show up. But
we had cell service. Well, eventually we had cell service. It wasn't like we were in the middle of.
It doesn't really cross our mind. I'm definitely more wary about when I'm tired and stuff now, but like, I don't know. I kind of forget the question, but
we want any more details on Teunis's accident, go back in my library and check out the axe safety video, and he tells the story. There were some rather gross looking pictures that he shared with us too of the wound. So that there must have been a very scary situation, that's for sure.
What about you, Alex? Do you ever
she's asking if you feel like because you're the dude and you maybe, I don't know, but now it sounds like maybe Jess plans some of your trips, but like, do you feel responsible to like, I've got to get us out of here?
Well, going off of both questions, from the question of like our first kind of trip together, it kind of tied in from that one. So our very first camping trip, just the two of us, we just wanted to keep it simple. We went car camping to Arrowhead Provincial Park, I believe. So I hadn't done that much camping other than like with my family, like car camping. And the very first night, we're sitting out there around the campfire. Like it's our first night camping in the complete darkness. And there wasn't really anybody around us, that's why we really like that provincial park. And then all of a sudden you can hear this like terrible screeching sound off in the distance. And Jess is like, oh my God, what's that? And I'm like, oh, don't worry, honey. It's nothing. We're totally fine. It's normal. And inside I'm like freaking out. Like, what the frig is that? And then like 20 minutes later, we hear it in the opposite direction. And I'm
it
like,
was surrounding us.
it sounded like we were surrounded. Like it just sounded like something was getting eaten or mauled.
Yeah.
Like it sounded awful. So I'm like, well, maybe let's just go to bed and it won't get us in the tent kind of thing, right? And then so a couple hours later, like I wake up and it is like right over top of us. Whatever this noise is, it's like right on us. And I'm like, oh my God. So like I unzip the tent and I like look out and there's this screech owl like sitting like 6 feet above our tent, just screeching away, making this horrid noise. So like that whole time I'm like, oh my God, like what have I just done? What have I gotten her into? What are we doing? But ever since then, no, we've felt pretty good with all of our trips. I haven't stuck an axe in my leg, and Jess hasn't done the same. So
like tumbles here and there from my account. I'm a bit more of the klutz in the family, I think. But I think it's just recognizing that we need to slow down. Like you guys have talked about that too, right? It's just like, hey, hanger is coming on. We need snacks. Or it's just like, this is really, like sketchy boardwalk. We need to slow it down. Like, what else can we do? Like, we just try to recognize that a bit more, I think. And
we're pretty in sync that way. As soon as I can sense her getting like any like hint of anger, I'm like, oh, snack time. Everybody stop. We'll have a snack. And then the mood like instantly improves after that.
Yeah. We all have one group. Come on.
Don't mess with my wife's tummy. I'm hungry now.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be saying that because she's not down here to defend herself, but it's so true. Yeah. I guess I get like that. It would be a big baby. That's actually a good question though, Sheri, because sometimes us as the guys, we take on that role of protector, right? And we got to make sure. I got to make sure the kids are going to get out safe, and I'm going to make sure that the wife's got to get out safe and stuff like that. So that's actually a really good question because, as Jay put it, the dude, we got to take care of our ladies, right? So, yeah.
Who's running out of the tent when a bear comes at night? Is that like a plan? You two have a plan.
Oh, good.
Don't hear the plan.
It's probably a very horrible
So it
plan.
depends on how many campers there are, but for sure, like, well, I've already done it. Like, if I hear something, like, I unzip and I run at it.
But we have our paddle.
Yeah, there's usually that or whatever. The more like, there's some kind of thing that I'm going to run out with, and I dart right for it, and I hope that she's going to follow with the bear spray, and if something's on me, that she's going to.
But we have everything like, okay, the paddle's gonna be beside the tree. We know that's there. Yeah. The axe is gonna be beside you because he's gonna take the axe and the paddle, and I'm gonna take the bear spray and my knife.
But where did it happen? Was it on the French River where I literally just
it was the French River.
I was just and like across the campsite,
which was very reassuring to me that he like stuck to his word and like went out.
I didn't see anybody behind me though, so
didn't feel her with the bear spray. She was.
I met Teunis, and he's a strapping young lad. And he's a big boy, and he's got a big mitt. And you know what? If I was a bear, I'd probably just turn around, run the other way.
By all means, I know that I cannot take a bear, but again, I'm hoping that the bear spray will deter it once. I distract it more or less. So hopefully, I have a team behind me that'll deliver.
I'll be there.
Team
You gotta take one of those Bigfoot stickers and hold it at him and say, "This is me." Look at him. Oh, that's awesome. Well, you know what? We're at 8:00. Let's take a quick little break. Great chance to refresh your drinks. Maybe hit the men's room or the ladies' room, and we'll come back and we got a couple of swag giveaway things to do. and then we'll get on with the overtime portion of the show. So we'll be back right after this little commercial break.
There's nothing like being out there. For over 50 years, we've been connecting people with nature by building classic Canadian canoe designs using the best materials available. We built a reputation on durable, dependable canoes that allow you to focus on what's important, whether that's unplugging in remote wilderness, spending quality time with your favorite people, or nailing the perfect line. Visit novacraft.com to find the perfect canoe for you and locate your nearest authorized dealer.
Tonight's episode of Canoehounds Outdoor Adventure Show is brought to you by OTG Meals, fresh, freeze-dried, small batch meals made for people on the go. Algonquin Outfitters, with 4 key locations in and around Algonquin Park to serve your backcountry needs. Kid Products, stick stoves and reflector ovens proudly made in Canada. And Novacraft Canoes, connecting you with nature in Canadian-made canoes since 1970.
And welcome back to Canoehounds Outdoor Adventure Show. This is the second half of the show, and we're going to call this overtime. And we will get our couples back up here as we get ready for our swag giveaway. Let's see here. They're not all still there. So you know what? We're going to do this. I'm going to get the question up here on panel really quick. Oh, Jay's waving at me. Let's see what Jay's waving at. Hey, you're back? All right. We got Teunis and Britt, and we got Alex and Jess. Here we go. Let's get our order back here. There we go. There we go. All righty. So we do have a few things that we're going to give away for the swag giveaway tonight. I'm just going to get the information here on the screen so that you can all partake. So as usual, we're going to have until Sunday to get everybody's answers in for the swag giveaway. And the question is going to be very, very simple tonight. Just who's your favorite person to share backcountry adventure with? I just want to know who that would be. So yeah, see, look at that. There. That's all. Your sweethearts, of course, right? So I'm going to throw in a Canoehound Adventures prize pack that consists of a bunch of decals and some patches and maybe a couple of other goodies in there as well. But I believe Jay and Sheri had something that they wanted to throw in too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we do.
What do we got?
So we've got some old postcards that we don't need anymore. And we also have a spare tire for a 1984 Toyota Camry. But it's a winter tire. Yes. It's only seen a few seasons. Okay, so we have Jeepers. We have
new swag.
Ooh.
Oh, cool.
I like that a lot.
To your very lucky winner. And then finally we have a compact disc. If anyone, I'm not sure if anyone still has CD players, but I released an album just before COVID of songs, and they're there.
Nice.
So are we going to get to hear? Are we going to get to heir something tonight?
Oh yeah, perhaps I have a love song I could play for all of you.
For Valentine's.
Valentine's Day.
that would be fantastic. Okay, that's awesome. So we'll do one winner, and a prize will come from me, and a prize will come from you guys, and yeah, we'll be all happy. So everybody, you have until Sunday to get your answer in. Like I say, there's no right answers or wrong answers. It's just let me know who you like to share your backcountry experiences with. Plain and simple. How's that? All good?
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mine's upstairs. She's packing. I hope she's just packing for a trip. That's it. All right. Yeah. So Jay, you are a multi-talented gentleman down there. You just mentioned that you released a CD just before COVID. Tell us a bit about your musical career.
Okay, so I've been a musician for most of my entire adult life. All of my family are musicians and like touring musicians who've toured around the country and stuff. And so I came by it naturally. And basically up until about 2020, I toured around North America into the United States, all the way out west, out east, and Southern Ontario, lots in Southern Ontario, obviously, and did that for most of my living, actually. And then things happened. So, and I came my very first solo album where like I wrote all the songs and I performed, like I played all the instruments on the album, and I released it right up just as I was about to go release this and tour to support the album. We had, I don't know, you guys might have heard about it. Something happened around spring of 2020 and changed a lot of plans for musicians. So, but yeah, and we're getting back into it now. And it's, to be honest, to be quite frank, it's taking up quite a bit of my camping time.
Yeah. Sorry. Hey, you chose to be a musician, right? So
I didn't choose this life, man. This life chose me.
Yeah. So everybody knows there are links to their socials, like everybody's social media things in the description down below, and I believe that there's a link to your musical website, your website for your music, and yeah, he's got videos on there and the whole 9 yards. Check it out because this young man has a pretty darn good voice. I'll let you get ready if you want to play something.
I just want to note, Dennis, that during COVID was when we started doing a lot of canoe trips, and people might find it a little interesting to note that we drove to Algonquin to buy our first new to us canoe during COVID. We didn't camp there, but we drove all the way back to Northern Ontario with our Algonquin Swift canoe. And but doing the videos for us has been really great for Jay's music, because during COVID it was a lot harder on him emotionally as a musician. So just doing the YouTube videos and him writing new music has been a positive with the whole camping.
Does he write music while he's out there?
Yeah, I think he writes music. He'd have to answer that, but he hears music often.
Yeah, it's tough. What it's been is it's been a nice release creatively, because what I'll do is I'll actually take our videos, and once we've edited through them, I end up sort of scoring the videos that we make, just by kind of sitting there and playing around, watching the video. So it's a helpful creative release for sure. But I don't often write. There have been times where I've been walking through thick bush and actually hear a sort of symphonic musical production in my head. And then I get back to the camp and it's just a guitar with 6 strings, and I can only approximate it.
So are there any plans of you becoming another Jerry Vanderveer, maybe being inspired by backcountry and writing songs about canoeing and hiking and all the things that we get to experience in backcountry?
Absolutely. I obviously very much deeply respect Jerry. All of my songs are about stuff. Don't maybe put those specific words in, but those are huge influences on me.
Cool.
That's kind of, it's in my DNA. Like everything I do, I'm not long for the city before I can't wait to get back into the forest, basically. So everything that I sing about, everything I write about is sort of shaped by the backcountry, basically, because that's kind of how I grew up.
Cool. Well, let's hear something. Everybody cozy up to your loved one and grab yourself a nice little chocolate and a glass of wine.
Yes. So this is a song off of the album that I released a short while ago. And it's a song called Intend to Be. And it's kind of about just basically about appreciation for those things that have shaped, those things and people and times and experiences that have shaped the person that you are and the person that you hope to become. So there's someone close by that is a big inspiration for this song.
Cool.
Words spoken falsely true. Assure you what I aim to do is live my life thinking of you. And I hope that you like what we. If I show you the man I intend to be. It's easy though hard to explain. The morning arrives like rain. You outclaim England or Spain. Plant your flag in desert array. And I'm thankful what you've done for me. You've shown me the man I was meant to be. I'm gonna keep trying. The man I intend to be.
Yeah. All right. That is awesome, man. Wow. Sheri, you got to keep her there. Oh, that's great, man. Thanks very much for playing that. That's you know what, the first video I seen on your website was that song there. And as you mentioned, a lot of that video was shot at home, I could tell. Right?
Yeah. A lot of that was in our backyard, and some of it was shot on Lake Superior, actually.
Nice.
Right.
Nice. Sheri, does he bring a guitar when you go tripping?
No, it weighs too much. We don't have room.
It's too delicate. It's a delicate flower.
Ukulele, anything?
We like to single carry. We have no room for guitar.
We're single carriers. That's it, man.
You could just downsize. You got to make everything smaller. So bring like a banjo or something instead.
I have a mandolin, which is smaller.
I have a ukulele.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. You could do the duet, right? Yeah,
we could. Yeah.
You know what? Now you rank right up there with Les Stroud, Jerry Vanderveer, even I believe we had who else was it that played on here? Jeez, we've had a few people play, and yeah, so, cool.
Beautiful.
I feel very privileged.
I appreciate you inviting me to do that. I just happen to have a guitar right over here.
Do we have any other musical talent here with us tonight? Alex, Jess? Yeah.
Only while driving.
He sounds.
I used to play the drums, but now I play the steering wheel. So that's that's
pretty close.
We had a few questions come through that were before the break. I'm going to get to some of these here so that we can make sure everybody has their part. And before I do that, I'm going to drop the link. If anybody wants to come up and ask a question, just bear with me for one moment here, everybody. Control V. There's the link if anybody wants to pop on, maybe share a story or ask a question or anything like that. But let's see here. So Super Good Camping. Tim and Pamela are asking, when everyone is winter camping, do you also ice fish? And did anyone manage to get out this year? Who wants to start with that? I know the freaks have been out there doing some ice fishing and stuff.
Very unsuccessfully this year.
And very, very little, to be honest. Like, we're usually out at least once, if not twice a week, and it's only been twice this year that we've been out. But
the ice is just super not safe. Like, even like the big lakes that usually have like feet of ice are like, yesterday we went out, there was 8 inches, which is plenty of ice, but like,
and it's not the greatest ice. Like maybe half that's clear and the rest is all cloudy slush. So it's not good.
Yeah.
And it was a late start. So as beautiful as it's been a great time to like go camping, but not so much some winter activities. And then on our part, we've been busy with the leather business, so we haven't really been,
focuses have kind of been a little different this year.
We're finally starting to understand this whole there's not enough hours in the day thing between editing, making stuff, working, and that's where does the time go?
I've had everybody ask me the same thing. Hey, like, hey, when are you going to start putting your trip videos out and stuff like that? It's like, you know what? By the time I'm done with this show, I haven't got enough time because I also have family and I've got business and everything else, right? So it gets kind of hard to wear many, many hats, right?
Yeah.
But
do what you can.
I do have my pile of memory sticks right down there, and I got to get busy on that. Maybe I should bring a computer with me down to Mexico and. Instead of spending all my time at the pool bar, maybe I should just sit there in a lounge chair. No, pool bar.
Maybe run that by Mrs. Canoe Hound first.
Yeah. Well, you know what? She'll be doing the same thing. She'll just be sitting there relaxing, enjoying it, right? Well, she'll be hanging out with her sister, so that's all fine. Anybody else? Has anybody else been out winter camping and ice fishing? No.
Sadly, no.
Yeah, we've been to the cabin a few times.
We haven't been on a lake at all this year.
We haven't been ice fishing at all. When we were out there the first couple of times, like Teunis and Britt were saying, it's just been sketchy ice. And then we haven't been out since we've had a few cold snaps. So, no.
Yeah, it's just a factor of time not lining up, whether it's weather or whatever. And then also it's hard to want to take vacation now when obviously
want to save that stuff for
spring and summer's around the corner, like
ice out is coming.
Yeah, like you love winter, but at the same time I love spring and summer more, or spring and fall. So like it's hard to want to use your precious time off for that.
To maybe not catch fish.
Or freeze.
Or freeze.
I'll tell you, 3 weeks ago I was up Lake Nasbazing, which is like sort of northwest of Algonquin, and we were there, 12 guys, and we pulled 2 pike out of the ice, and that was it.
Oh wow!
They just weren't biting. And then last weekend, winter camping up in up at Mule Lake, and great time. But we hit another cold snap. Right, we hit that minus 39 degrees. One more degree, we'd have got the Algonquin Park I survived minus 40 badge, but they wouldn't give it to us. 39.6. But yeah. Let's see here. Wild Paddles wants to know how come Dennis's wife isn't on, because she's upstairs packing for Mexico right now as we speak. So, I'm not gonna stop her. So maybe she'll pack the rest of my stuff too. Who knows? Evan Lefebvre is asking here, what's the most romantic camping meal? Oh, okay. Let's get into some menu items here. Alex and Jess. Who? First off, who's the camp chef?
I probably am a bit more so.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of like our favorite meal in the backcountry is chili for sure.
But most romantic, I don't know if we have
most romantic. I'm not quite sure.
Well, maybe just breakfast, because as I said, like
morning
is our
morning
thing.
People, yeah.
So like, just it doesn't have to be fancy, but just sitting there with the sunrise and the quiet. Just sitting there eating some, peaches and cream oatmeal.
Yeah.
That's good enough right there for me. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
But I have to say, just reading all these comments that everybody's leaving on the side.
They're amazing.
It is hilarious. There's some awesome comments over
they're
here.
so good.
I got the best viewers, don't I? I really do. Jane, Sheri, what's do you have a romantic meal out there, or do you have a favorite dish for the backcountry?
I don't know. Like we dehydrate most of our meals, and rehydrating food isn't entirely romantic. It's all what happens in the background, I suppose. But actually, we did make at one of our trips to our camp, we made a nice backcountry pizza that was super romantic. You should see it. If you don't start snuggling up to your loved one, there's something wrong with it, man.
Like some saw to make you cuddle, right?
Oh, yeah. Some nice bell peppers, some tomato sauce.
Was it shaped like a heart?
It could be, man, whatever you want.
But you know what we found this in the fall was a mocha latte. That was our favorite. We were in heaven. We're just like half coffee, half hot chocolate, and we were happy.
And a little bit of Bailey's.
Sometimes,
we didn't have any.
sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. But she also threw in some crushed up candy canes.
Just ruined it.
Minty
you know what, Dennis? I thought so too. No. Try it.
Oh, this guy can't do mint. I had a really bad experience with a 26er peppermint schnapps one time. And I can no longer do mint, trust me. That was back when I was younger, right? So, yeah. The smell of peppermint bubble gum just makes me so.
Okay, duly noted. Nothing.
Yeah. So Teunis and Brittany, okay, we won't say romantic because backcountry camping meals aren't that romantic, except for there is one couple I know of that really makes backcountry food look very romantic. And everybody can attest to this because you all watch their channel, and that would be Keenan and Ashley. She always prepares the food, and they sit down and they enjoy the meals side by each. That's my French side, right? Side by each, and they just sit there and gaze out over the water, eating whatever pasta or whatever it is. So they make backcountry meals romantic. If you guys are watching, you do it. Okay. So how about you two?
Well, anyone that watches that channel knows that we love to cook. It all depends on the length of the trip, right? Our 3 to 4 days, we usually bring gourmet, fresh food, and
we always bring a cast iron with us in the backcountry.
Yeah.
That's no matter how long the trip is.
Alan and Dustin with the Iron Maiden, So I don't know, we made chicken farm,
made a roast,
Philly cheesesteaks, prime rib, like
we like our food.
Whatever we're feeling, right? Like food's one of those things that's what life's about, is having a good full belly of.
Sometimes we just can't wait to get to camp to make whatever supper we had planned that night. So I find that's another big part that we like to enjoy together.
I know. I'll put my hand up. I'm not romantic like Keenan and Ashley. Like when it's for me, it's like to fuel the body. So it's very much like food oriented until it's gone. But
okay, let me throw 2 more at you though that make food look good and romantic in the backcountry. Jonathan, right? Doesn't Jonathan? He cooks the best meals out there. His chili and everything, right?
Good job. I would say Brad and Leah.
I say Brad and Leah too.
Brad and Leah definitely up there.
Yeah. They always do the cocktails, right?
Yeah.
That guy makes sexy food. He does, man. He's got all the fresh ingredients on there piled high, right? Yeah. And then he just stuffs it all back. So there we go. And I guess he's still out on a big adventure right now, eh? With Baird and Nate Muskoka.
They should be ending soon. 10 days.
I see Nate Muskoka last weekend there when we were going into Algonquin. We had some things to drop off there with kid products. And I asked Nate, Nate, I go, how'd you get yourself into this? I said, you're going to let Jim Baird beat up on you for 10 days? And he goes, Dennis, he says, I don't know how I got into it. He says, all I know is we had a few beers and somehow I agreed to something that I shouldn't have. I wonder how they're making it out. Oh, that's funny. Let's see. We got another question. Now, Brittany, you said that you guys never go into the backcountry without a cast iron pan. Right? Mm-hmm. So Rebel with an O's asking, who's the main Sherpa in the relationship? Who's carrying that thing?
No, I carry the pan.
She does a very good job. She'll carry a good 70-pound pack and not complain. But I'm definitely the heavy hitter.
I mean, if you want to.
What did Josh call me this year? The moose? Yeah. So I'm usually the one that picks up the slack, but I don't mind.
Me neither.
Yeah. How about you guys down here? Who's the main Sherpa?
Well, I'm always the one that carries the canoe generally.
Yeah, he's always got the canoe.
My pack technically weighs the lightest, but adding the canoe onto the shoulders with the pack, it adds up to be quite a bit more. But
yeah, we could be about the same with fishing trips because we have all the extra stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I guess we both kind of carry a good amount of weight.
Yep.
Cool.
Yes, it's same. Like Sheri.
Jay's a Sherpa.
Sheri, like I'm built for carry. I'm like 5'7" and a half. But I've got like this short, stocky, like build that I'm built for carrying stuff. And Sheri is tall and lithe and beautiful. So she carries her little purse, and then I put on this 125-pound pack and the canoe. And I sometimes carry our car if I don't feel like walking back. I do like to carry a heavy load. It helps. We did this before, and now we do it a bit differently now. But when we did our Ranger Lake trip in May of 2022, I calculated that I was carrying, to start with, 22 pounds of booze, just booze.
Wow.
We don't do that anymore. Yeah, we don't do that anymore. I was carrying 2 bags of wine and a liter of whiskey.
Wow.
Yeah, so we just don't do that anymore.
But it was a canoe trip.
It was a canoe trip. It was not but there is a 3-kilometer portage on that trip. So
yeah,
and we single carried that sucker. Darn.
Well, you guys said you guys are single carriers, which is crazy because me and Tune try so hard to be, but like we're a double carry. We're like Dennis. Our bag is like massive and packed with all the what ifs, the essentials, the comforts.
Yeah, a million things of fishing stuff.
Yeah, every year we're like, we maybe we'll go lighter this year, but then we pack our canoe and it's the same situation.
Yep.
So, we're trying to go lighter. It's hard.
It is, especially when you got all the gear. You want to carry it, right? You want those comforts while you're out there. And my packs have been getting heavier over the years and not lighter, right? It's like, well, maybe I need a bigger chair, than the little camp chair. Now they got the high back one. I got to have the back support, right? So
it just gets back hurts so much from carrying all this heavy stuff.
I got a titanium pot now, so I can get the bigger chair. Okay, so. Let's talk cocktails in the backcountry. Is there a go-to cocktail that you all enjoy in the backcountry? We'll start with Alex and Jess.
Whiskey is our go-to for the first night. Like we've only ever single carried. That's kind of our thing.
Yeah.
But actually, it was funny. We were just talking about doing like a longer Temagami trip, and we're like, maybe we should try this double carry that everyone else seems to be doing. Let's get some chairs. Let's really like live in some luxury here. So
we might be convinced to, give it a whirl.
If you got the single carry down, don't go with double carry.
But like we generally don't drink too much. So like the first night we'll have like a glass of wine, and then we might have a little bit of whiskey for the rest of the trip, but we don't do too much. But if we do the whiskey, it's generally whiskey and hot chocolate or a whiskey lemonade. That's those are our go-to kind of drinks that we've done so far. But
Cool. Sheri?
Yeah, ours is definitely cedar tea with whiskey.
Fancy.
So we love cedar tea. Like at the end of every day, just getting a nice cedar tea brewing is like, okay, we know that we've stopped hitting ourselves in the face with stuff to do, and we know we're ready to relax. So we have a nice cedar tea, and then if we still have some, we put a little bit of whiskey in there, and I'll tell you that does what's right, and it puts you to bed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tune, Britt?
I'm a simple man.
Yeah, beer,
or I said straight whiskey or whatever, but Typically, we don't drink that much when it's just
No.
us. It's usually when we have
like
company.
never bring alcohol on our.
It's just because we,
trips, so.
yeah, like back to the weight thing. Like I guess we just bring so much friggin' food that can't afford the weight. Because I get like, I don't know, we double carry too. Like we're usually out there for at least a week too, right? Like it's hard. Like there's so much food involved, especially if you're gonna eat fresh at least 1 or 2 days. Like,
And camera gear, which you guys could
everybody can
understand
attest to.
that.
Right?
Like,
Yeah. It's another 30 pounds of stuff.
yeah. Again, we probably don't need to be bringing all this stuff like the camera gear we do bring, but that's one thing we enjoy about being in the backcountry is we enjoy filming. It is part of the process. It's part of the adventure for us. So we like bringing the 2 big lenses and 5 tripods and just kidding.
What?
I find it depends on the trip that you're taking, right? If you're going into a trip that's like, very, very portage intense, then yeah, you might want to keep some of the, the unnecessaries, being the alcohol at home or something like that. I've done trips where I've gone on like 8-day trips, brought a 6-pack of beer, come home with 2 beers.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that's kind of embarrassing to say sometimes. You know what I mean? But it's just like, you know what? Sometimes you're just not in the mood for it, right? You'd rather have that water because hydration, you always got to face being hydrated out there and everything, right? So that's, yeah. So, but I still like my Irish cream for the coffee, at least, right? In the morning, got to have a little nip in there, So, and not even that much because then it overpowers the coffee. I like coffee. So we got 2 people in the basement. Let's start with Rob from the Outdoor Camping Couple.
Hey,
and
I wasn't expecting Happy Valentine's Day, guys.
You're lonely tonight.
Where's Sabrina?
I am. She had to go to the dentist yesterday to get a tooth pulled. And she's leaving next Monday for Australia. So her brother and a really good friend of our family's asked her if she'd go down and spend the week with them before she left. So yeah, I'm all alone now for 3 months.
I'll pass on to her.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's good. But on the food note, I just want to say Sabrina and I have already informed Teunis and Britt that they are now catering every trip that we do. Now, my question is, and I don't know if I can vocalize what I'm thinking, but do you find, like, I've gone out on some solo, like just a couple of overnighters. A week and a half ago, I went out for a 2-nighters with like 3 of my buddies and stuff. But I find without Sabrina there, I almost feel like I'm not enjoying it as much, or I don't see the beauty in the trip as much as I do when I'm with her. Do you guys get that feeling too? Like, no matter how good your trip is with your buddies or your solo, it just always seems like there's something missing. Do you guys get that?
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's that, or like I wish she was there to experience whatever it is that that I'm viewing.
Yeah.
So,
It's just a different trip, right? If you're so used to doing it, it's not that it's better or worse necessarily, but it's that it's a different thing. Yeah.
And I think Johnny Keel said it really well when he said, I don't want to go home and say, oh my God, I wish you had seen this, or I wish I was there to do this. Yeah, I think it's a bond that everybody has just created, I guess, together, and it's nice to share.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think Jess would probably kill me if I went on a trip without her. So, and that's honestly our first trip this spring. We're doing like a little backpacking trip. I did that before we kind of started doing our trips together. And she's like, no, now you have to take me. You went there, I'm coming too. So that's what we're doing in the spring.
Yeah, that was last minute. It was all booked. I put my back out. I'm like, well, I guess I'm not going on a 4-day hike. So
now I have to redo it.
Yeah, I got to do over.
Right on.
Love that.
I'm one of them guys. I'm really happy that when I get to a campsite and I've got the new Garmin now, that I can actually communicate with the wife. I look forward to saying, hey, I'm okay, and not just to say I'm okay, but it's how are things at home, and how's the family and stuff like that. My wife and I have really good communication skills, and I think that's the one reason why we've been married for well over 30 years, right? But I have good communication with my wife, and to me that's really important. Even when I'm gone on a trip, and half the time she'll tell me, just go back and enjoy yourself with the boys, right? But it's not me. I just have to convey myself across to her like that. So
Yeah, and you guys have created that relationship because you know that she knows that you enjoy doing that and she maybe doesn't enjoy it as much. So I think that's nice that you have the communication while you're out there.
You got a little bit of leeway there, and that's understood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I thought I would have had that with Sabrina with a couple of the trips that I brought her on. Like I thought she was going to kill me. Like there was trips, we had no business going in some of the places we went into, but she loved it more than I did. Like, I was the one like getting that, like you were talking about, like, oh my God, I've got to get her out of here. There was one time on the Severn River trip where we hit what was supposed to be a lake and it was all marsh. We went into the bush to see if we could find some kind of a trail to get around it. And the GPS that I was using to track from the lake to go where we were walking, I guess I had hit a branch or something and it turned off the tracking. And we walked for half an hour and then I had no idea where the hell we were. And I went into total panic mode. And without Sabrina there, I'd probably still be in the bush. She was able to, like, you know, do that. It's okay. Take a breath. We can figure it out. But yeah, that I understand what you were saying about that. Do you have that feeling? Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Hey, somebody is in the basement there.
Actually,
stick around, Rob, because we have a special. We have Cupid in the basement.
I threatened to do that.
Hey there. How you doing, Kevin?
Oh, there he goes. Okay.
Yeah, there he goes.
Oh man, I didn't even know I was on. Sorry, I got two questions for you guys. Very serious for all of you. Very serious. Because I'm a pretty serious person. All right, so who's the better cook on trip?
Brittany's pointing at herself.
With Jay and I like to do all the prep. I love recipes, so I like to make the prep and do the dehydrating. But Jay definitely brings it back to life. So we're like a combined pair.
I'm good at
That's a cop out. That's a cop out. You basically are saying deep down inside that he's nothing.
Yes.
Without you.
But I'm resuscitating. I'm resuscitating the meal like Baird and Teunis do to humans.
Alex and Jess, I watch your show all the time. It's fantastic. I'm pretty sure that Alex, you're really nothing. Like really. Yeah.
Lovingly, of course.
Yeah. You're basically. I watched the whole scene where you're doing the whitewater, and you're telling Jess what to do. I think you should listen to her.
Well, we only tipped one time, Kevin. One time.
That's because of you, man.
No, that was a team effort.
I'm just joking. I'm just talking out of my ass. And Britt, really, like, you know, you're more talented than the guy beside you. Really, you know that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He has his talents too.
Oh yeah. No. He's very talented. He's very masculine. Like I love him. Like really. But,
Me too.
Yeah, you know, but really, like seriously, like you're carving, like nothing compared to him. Like I don't think he could ever make a belt or a vest.
The vest is coming, Kevin.
Okay.
You don't have to sweeten it. She's making it for you.
So here's another question. I'll let you guys go, but I think it's a really important question that a lot of people are watching that probably would want to know the answer. Is there a time when you're doing online video where one of whoever it is, the other person will say, if you put that camera in my face one more time, I'll kill you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah? Is there? Come on. Because there is
there's definitely a cranky Teunis behind the camera, but
I told you to do this. Hey guys.
Yeah.
There's actually a clip in our channel trailer when we were on the Moon River where we had just got to a campsite and set it up, and we had one of the worst days we've ever had on a trip. And I turned around with the camera and I tried to get her to say hi, and she walked by and tried to swipe the camera out of my hand. And
All right, I'm doing that.
So what is it that? So yes, it's a given. It's tough to work together. We all know that, and Dennis even said too. Like he works with did work with his wife and around the corner, whatever. It's all work. It's all tough. So why do it together?
Because you love each other.
Because no one else has patience for Teunis.
Wouldn't want to do it with anybody else, right? Partner.
Yeah.
Hold on. You guys slow down. You guys are going too quick. All right, let's start with
wait a second. Brittany, say that again.
Permission?
Oh.
No one has patience for Teunis like I do.
That's a lie. That's what I like.
Just kidding. Ish.
I think Sabrina doesn't even like being on camera in the first place, but she loves the trips and she loves documenting it. So if I get her the back of the head while she's paddling and stuff, or when we're doing the portage, she doesn't mind. But if I try to get anything scripted, she just, especially if it's been a long day, like she doesn't even like her photo being taken, but she loves actually making everything because she gets to send a lot of the stuff off to her. Like a lot of the stuff that doesn't make our videos, she can send to her family in Germany and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, Rob, we totally agree. Like we want to get like the real parts of camping, and after a hard day, those are the real parts when you're like beat down, and that's the parts we want to start recording. But those are the absolute hardest parts to actually record, because that's the last time you want to pick up a camera is when you're exhausted at the end of the day.
Oh, absolutely. I've got a few of those clips, and I was going to put like the worst of our trips like in one big reel. And Sabrina said, I swear to God, if you post that stuff of me, you're not going to make it to the end of the day.
There's a lot of
So who in the group are the editors? Who edits the videos? Okay.
Yeah.
And who does most of the shooting of the videos?
I think.
Really, you guys do know that women are
the video camera even
men, right? You guys do realize that women are better than men. Like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, but men are more prolific. We just throw a bunch of footage at the screen and hope that some of it is good.
Yeah.
You guys are lucky. I'm just saying.
Did you hear the last question though? Who could care less if the camera even came out?
Oh no, I always have my camera on.
Yeah. Sabrina wants it for pictures while we're out there. Like she'll always have a camera or a phone with her to take pictures of things that she finds beautiful. But as for actual like video recording, she could care less if that happens.
That's really cool. That's really cool. So explain that. So visual, you want that in the can.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing.
Yeah, she really appreciates making the videos because there's a lot of time, there's a lot from both of our past that we can't see or we don't have anymore just because of circumstances. So to be able to making all these new memories and document it, and not just that, but be able to share it because we both have family hers is in Germany. I got mine in Ireland. I don't have a lot of family left over here anymore, except for my brother, my kids and nieces and stuff. So to be able to sharing those moments, she really appreciates doing the videos, but when it comes right down to it, she could really care less. Like she's not a very, I don't want to say she's not an outgoing person. She's very personal. So what she feels when we make videos and put them out there, it's much more personal than just taking a bunch of photos and putting them out there.
Well, so for all you guys then, what was the moment on your trip where someone, whoever it was of the partners, whatever, first of all, punched the other person and said, you should have shot that. Like, why did you not film that? And the other question is, when was the moment where put the camera down? Those two things. When did that happen?
When or who said it? Because that'd be me for both.
It doesn't matter who said it. It matters when the moment happened. So when did the moment happen where someone said, you need to film this? And then there's a moment where someone said, put the camera down. It doesn't matter if we film this.
Like literally just 2 days ago.
Yeah, there's definitely been moments, but
Like fishing. Why the heck didn't you get that hook set?
Yeah.
Why wasn't the GoPro running, Britt?
Just thrown under the bus, eh?
I think on our Moon River trip, I think both of those scenarios came in at the exact same time. And I think we were on our 6th day. And there was supposed to be a portage, and there wasn't. And the elevation was and it was absolutely awful. And I was already starting to get miserable from trying to capture like the perfect shots over the last few days. So when we got to that point, I just turned the camera off and I was pissed that I'm just rifling, trying to get through this bush that there's no trail. And at the end of it, Sabrina looked at me and was like I turned it off. And Sabrina's like, that would have been the best footage of everything to show what it's really like to be out here. Why didn't you record that? You know, and I think at the time it was because it was almost like all I wanted to put out was glam videos, but there's a real dark side to backcountry camping sometimes, right?
Dark side.
I think some of the hardest moments are when you don't capture it on video, because I remember standing on a log on a lake that's probably 30 feet deep, and we had to pull the canoe over, and I froze, and nobody was filming that because, first of all, it wouldn't have been pretty.
We were on the West Abinadong
Yeah,
River, and it was swollen. It was 4 feet higher than it should be. And I'm in the canoe, and we're on this log jam, and there's only one way over. It's to both of us get out of the canoe and stand on this log on either side of the canoe and pull the canoe over and then get back in the canoe. And it was about 7 p.m. and it's in May, so that's getting close to dark, and we were no campsites anywhere, and we were tired, and nobody wanted to turn on a camera. But that would have made for good YouTubing, but it was just not happening.
I think we're still fresh enough, Kevin, that we haven't hit those turn off that camera moment. We haven't hit that one yet. Not yet.
She says it with a look and a knife, sometimes with a knife.
With a knife.
I think I have 3 moments where it's actually captured on camera where I'm trying to film Jess and she's like, turn that off right now.
I only had one.
We were like scaling up this, like, for actually on the Silhouette Trail in Killarney. There's that like one steep, super vertical section, and we're like scaling down it. And I wanted to try and capture that, because just try and show how ridiculous that kind of portion of the trail is. And she's like, get that off.
Well, like with one section, I had to get my backpack off so we could like jump over something, and I'm just like, I don't know how I'm not Spider-Man. I can't figure this out. Like, so I was like, no camera.
That's great.
Just think of the thumbnail.
So, what giggle moment did you have as a couple where you watched the film? Because I know what you guys do. Like, you film something, yeah, we should look at that first. And then you watch it and you're like giggling. That's good. That exactly caught the moment. When was that for all of you guys? When was that moment you giggled and said, you caught the moment? Yeah, I didn't want you to film. Blah, 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 blah. You got the moment.
We had one moment hiking the coastal trail this year, and we had a new GoPro. Jay was wearing it, and he was operating it. And he walked smack into a tree and literally said, "Oh, I wish I had the GoPro on."
No, that would have been funny if the GoPro was on.
It was on.
But it was on.
It was
funny.
And for me to walk into a tree, because again, I'm not very tall. So like 3 people walked through it. I don't know how I hit it, but.
Wow.
I think a giggle moment. I think it's a giggle moment for me and not so much Teunis, because Teunis will spend like 10 minutes filming a trickle of a water stream or something. And then it's like only a 2-second clip on the video. But the positions he will get himself into, he'll be like spread eagle on like this giant, I don't know, log or something, lean forward. I don't know, just like completely in like these hilarious positions, and I'm filming him in these positions, but he's never used this footage in any of our videos.
Well,
but
you already painted the spread eagle.
It's ridiculous. Like,
so what you're saying is there's a lot of plumber crack shown.
Yes, there is.
Okay, all right.
So those are my giggle moments, is giggling at him filming, getting the shots.
Yeah, you get the shots.
It is, and he gets good shots.
I have an image that I really can't get out of my head right now.
Well, there's a footage of it. You'll see it one
Valentine's
Day, Kevin.
You are Cupid. You might as well keep the image.
How about you, Alex and John?
I don't know about a giggle moment. Like,
Well, I think that's why I like including the bloopers and stuff at the end of our videos.
yeah, like if you watch the end of our videos, we always have a couple of like the blooper parts where we're just laughing or can't speak or whatever. But
Yeah, because there's always moments, especially like when you're checking out the videos and editing everything. It's just like, good grief, like there's just gotta include it and share it, right? Because we're all human and we're all gonna fumble or get tongue tied and stuff. It's I don't know, it's fun.
I can definitely relate to that. There's a lot of times where Teunis will be editing and I hear him like chuckling in the other room. I'm like, what's so funny? Like, I don't remember anything being super funny. And it is super funny to us. And then like, I don't think it's funny to anyone else, but for the people that experienced it, which is like completely fine. But I don't know. I find it funny.
yeah.
I was going to ask, so what inspired you all to become YouTubers and share your backcountry adventures together?
Well, ours
was our parents for sure. They were always my parents are like they were okay campers. Oh, mom's not listening. Sorry.
car camping.
Not that big.
So once we started going on these backcountry trips and like traveling to BC and that stuff, they were always like,
you're gonna get eaten by a bear.
they were always terrified, right? So we wanted to show them, what we were doing and what our adventures were, and proving that we were safe when we were out there and stuff like that. So that's kind of where it started from, and then it's just grown from there. Like obviously, we're sitting here with all of you guys, which is pretty incredible and awesome. So yeah, we've just absolutely loved it now, and the community, the outdoors community, has been phenomenal. Like just reading all these comments and chatting with all of you is super cool. So.
I think we are the same. Like we started posting photographs of our trips and our family. We're so excited about our trips that we just decided this year to start filming them. So it's mostly about friends and family for us, but now we're finding that it's actually a nice outlet for Jay and his music and just to enjoy. And we love this community now that we're meeting. So
Yeah, it started with our family. Like our parents are getting older and they can't get out, and they were just saying, what are you guys doing? Oh, I wish I could be there. And we're like, get out there, just do it yourself. Why do I always have to tell you everything? No, I'm just joking. So we just started doing it, and yeah, now it's become part of the experience of camping is just documenting it. And whether or not YouTube existed, it's nice to have that sort of family photo album going back.
Oh yeah, well, I can't wait till when I'm like 80 or 90 and go back through all these YouTube videos that I've posted and be like, oh my God, that was an amazing trip or whatever.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah,
we did that.
Yeah.
No. I like posting it for my grandkids. My grandson's probably my biggest fan. You know what I mean? He always wants Papa on the screen, right? And if I can keep putting videos on there, and one day he'll be a part of them as well. And I think that's a bit of a legacy piece. Call it a legacy piece.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We did when we were young, right? How about you, Kevin?
We're also doing it for your grandkids.
Oh.
How about you, Kevin?
Me?
Yeah, you.
I can without a question. No. I would say that. Is it true that if you can go on a canoe trip with bug-infested portages, mud, steep hills before you got married, that would be a good kind of test of the marriage? Is that true or not?
Bonding moment, maybe.
Just don't switch spots in the canoe.
Yeah.
That's not course.
What? No. Look, let's go back to that. What?
The divorce boat.
Yeah.
No, Britt, what are you talking about? Like what?
I'm in the front and Tunes in the back, and that's it. That's all. There's no switching, or else.
What?
We have a lot of growing to do. Me as a bow paddler and her in the back. So
Yes.
Yeah, I've done some really remote trips, I think you need to switch now and then, because if something happened to him, you have to take care of him.
Oh yes. Oh, I'm fine. I feel comfortable in the back.
Yeah.
I mean, like I know I can do it if I needed to.
Oh,
Especially if he-
I feel friction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sheri and Jay, Johnny and Colleen want to know what vintage you guys are drinking.
Oh my God! You know what's going to happen? Those two are the next video we're going to watch. They're going to be in solo canoes, and they're going to be double blading.
This is the one we're currently.
1 gram of sugar.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, because of all the sweets we've already had, lots of sweets. So, and such sweet conversation with you folks.
So basically, what you're saying is how you get through your trips and the long portages is the vintage you're having.
The vintage we know is waiting for us at the end.
Well, cheers to that. Oh.
Cheers. Happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Right.
Happy Valentine's.
Yeah, where are we here? Cheers, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, Lord. All right. Tense and Timber. You know what? I forget the question, but what's the answer?
Kevin, you're cut off.
Would you canoe? Is it true if you canoe and climb through mud, if that would attest to your marriage holding up?
Yes. Oh, you know what? I would marry you. I should have married you long ago.
Oh, come on.
All right. So, what's the answer?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that's the ultimate test. If you can go camping with somebody and survive and not kill somebody when you go camping, that's you're destined to be together forever.
There you go. There you go. There's the answer.
Yeah. Yep. Every marriage should go through that test first, I think. That's like marriage counseling 101 right there.
So they used to do that, right? They used to do that.
I've lost more friends. I've lost more friends camping than doing stuff with Sabrina. Like I've had more friends go like, yeah, dude, we used to be real good friends, but after going through that, I don't know if we like each other anymore, right?
We've had that happen with our nieces and nephews. They don't want to camp with us anymore.
Really?
Yeah, and this was car camping basically too. So
yeah.
What did you do wrong?
We broke them.
Everything, Kevin. We did everything.
None of these probably, right?
Well, they didn't have those. So it's funny because the provincial parks up here don't have cell service. Basically, if we go to the end of our street, we don't have cell service up here.
Oh my gosh. We literally canoed with my youngest daughter across Lake Maginamunshing in Lake Superior Park. And she was in the middle and she was paddling. And as soon as her phone pinged and she had service, we didn't see her.
Stop paddling. Stop paddling. I've got service.
Wow.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
We got a question here for Brittany Toon from Evan Lefebvre. This is from a little while back in the show. And this is everybody can learn something from this. Targeted to you two. What are some of the basic first aid skills couples should know to help each other in the backcountry?
Well, first aid skills. Well,
trying to think of
stop a hemorrhage would be number one.
Do an axe to the foot.
Yeah.
Know where your first aid kit is. I think that's a big one. So Toon packs the bags usually. I'm familiar with where he puts stuff. I know that the first aid kit's in the green bag on the top. So if something were to happen, make sure you know where to get the first aid kit.
Yeah, and to add on to that 1 second.
Oh, he's getting something.
Oh, getting the backpack out.
You would not watch this? What's going on?
Actually, I would think just having first aid skills or knowledge right off the hop.
Just know your basic first aid.
So, well, and as Dennis said, make sure the other one can paddle out too in case of emergency.
Yeah, that's a big one. Really, I learned that long ago when I was the guy, and my wife at the time was like, we did amazing trips, and all of a sudden I got this intestinal when your intestines turn around, whatever, and we're in the middle of nowhere, and we were fine. We got out, but I went, next trip, you have the map. I have a map. You have a compass. I have the compass. We're all separate because if something happened to me, you need to get me out.
Yeah.
And we need to know that. Whether you're a male or female, whatever, whoever thinks of the dominant person, you need to switch that because if you don't, you're going to be dead out there.
Yeah. To add on to the initial question, it's not just know where it is, but know what's in it and like have it organized. So I
Are you talking about sex right now, or what? What's going on?
What's that?
What are you talking about? Sex?
First aid.
Sure, first aid.
Oh, sorry.
Whatever it applies to. So, anyways, like I have
Never
it down to reference a bag at work. So it's also the color, how it unzips, all that. So it's muscle
Sorry,
memory.
you're talking about sex again? What?
Yeah. Sure. So it's down to like the fact that it's basically just like a work bag. So, like I said, if you don't know what's in this,
first aid or sex? Okay, so
One track mind, Kevin.
Yeah, it's Valentine's Day, and Christine's not close, I guess.
That must be it.
Britt, I think that's a good point about how Teunis packs the bag. Because we run into that often. Jay packs the bags, but he's learned actually to slow down on packing so that I can assess where the items are. So that's one thing I think about couples packing. And Alex and Jess, I don't know if you run into that or Rob, but when you camp together, it's usually one person that's packing. So it's kind of like a learned comfort zone because you need to know where the things are.
Yeah.
Both people need to know where everything is at all times.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've got a bad habit when it comes to that where I'll just throw everything into a backpack and then close it up. So now when we're out on trips, I'll tear down the tent and stuff like that. But now Sabrina actually puts everything away because as she's doing it, she'll say, this is here, this is there, this is here. Where I just assume that because we communicate so well that if I do something, she already knows what I've done. So I don't communicate where anything is because I just figure she should know.
Rob, we are talking about first aid right now, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just. Okay.
I think I know what Kevin's next Explore blog is going to be about. First aid.
Yes, first aid in the woods. Happy Valentine's.
I've been meaning to put together an episode on first aid, wilderness first aid training.
Yeah,
And
no. You're not doing anything to do with safety. Last week was this. No,
I did nothing last week.
No, let's talk about life jackets. Oh my God!
I have a question. I want to ask couples. What is the one thing that you've forgotten on a camping trip that you're going to tell us, but you wish that you didn't have to tell us that you've forgotten it?
We are like, Jess loves her Excel spreadsheets. So I can't say that we've ever really forgotten something that's important. Jess is like the Excel queen and everything is planned to a T.
That's awesome.
I'm trying to remember.
I'm proud of you.
what have we forgot? I mean, there's always something, but like
There is always one thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so while you guys are thinking of this, we'll give you. So this last one, when we went this summer on a trip. There's north of Massey, Ontario. It's about a 3-hour drive for us. Almost 4-hour drive. It's the Bark Lake Loop. Kevin, you know this loop. We picked up the Bark Lake Loop from your book. So we drove all the way to Bark Lake without friggin' paddles. And we have like 10 paddles at home. So we had to leave.
Now we have 12.
We have 12. We had to leave the Bark Lake put in, drive another hour back down, and then another hour there back to this other city to get paddles, and then drive back. So, OMG, yeah.
Okay, Teunis and Britt, come on.
It's got to be something like that.
I find
No one else has ever driven 4 hours without paddles.
Yep.
definitely forget stuff, but not definitely not something that important.
It's usually like drive a couple blocks and then you like, oh shit.
Yeah, we have a habit of turning around
every
like
single time.
Yeah, our neighbors probably think we're schizophrenic or whatever because it's like
the Still River route. I went all the way there. Didn't have paddles.
There you go.
I had to go into what town? Well, Thunder Bay, I guess, and I got paddles.
Yeah, now that Jess jogged my memory, we went on a fishing trip and we forgot fishing poles.
Okay.
So that kind of made that difficult. But luckily, we stopped at a Canadian Tire.
Little Canadian Tire.
And found
I think that's where we got paddles.
We got paddles.
You just hate it when one of your buddies forgets his chair and then he decides to sit in everybody else's chair.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And you go to sit in your chair and you look at him and he's like sitting in your chair and it's like, Wait a minute. You're the one that forgot your chair.
And Jess has spreadsheets, and she forgot that. What the hell?
You should share the template. Share the template with the group.
Actually, that would be a great idea.
No, we needed it for the West Coast because we're flying, right? We couldn't afford to forget anything, and especially like weight. Like we had 22 pounds of food, so yeah.
Don't forget the whiskey. Don't forget the wine.
When we did the Valentines of Great Lake along the Musquash River, we were at my uncle's house. We were so excited for the trip. It was probably about 7 o'clock in the morning, and he's only a 5-minute drive from the footing. We loaded all the gear in the truck, and then got down to the footing right in Bala Bay, and realized we had to. So, but it was only a 5-minute drive. It wasn't so bad, but we were just so excited to go. We had everything else but the canoe.
You didn't have the whole canoe?
Yeah, we didn't put it on the truck. We loaded everything in. Sabrina looked at me and said, "Have you got everything?" I said, "We've got everything, babe. Let's go." My uncle jumped in the truck to drop us off. We pulled in, got into the truck, and went, "We don't have a canoe."
Oh, man.
Wow.
You're going to go on. That is hardcore backcountry stuff. You do a canoe trip, but only swimming.
And only swimming, yeah.
Sheri, after hearing that, you've been forgiven for the paddles.
Oh my God. It's a really good thing that all influencers like ourselves are perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gee, the worst I forgot was the bacon one.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, and coffee. I forgot coffee one time too. That I was pretty.
That's really bad. Dennis, that's really bad. Like,
I know. Anyways, y'all, you know what? We are 10 minutes past 9 o'clock here. We're just going to get this show closed up, so we'll do a little green room session after this as well here. Just want to go around the table here. Teunis and Brittany, where can people find you that might not be familiar with your channels?
You can find us on, well, like you want all our socials? There's a list. But I know.
Throw it out there.
I'm just going to go with the YouTube. We're Freak of Nature, and that's our outdoor channel. And I also have a second channel. It's our leatherworking channel, which is Freak of Nature with a co at the end. So same name. One has a co, one does not. And that's us.
Yep. And that channel's grown quite quickly, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's booming.
It's booming.
Yeah. Good stuff. Jay and Sheri?
You can find us at YouTube /beautyofthebackcountry.com. Actually, any social media except TikTok. We don't have a TikTok yet, but just basically, if you just put Beauty of the Backcountry in any sort of search engine, you'll find us, hopefully.
Awesome.
And if you put Booty of the Backcountry, you'll find our OnlyFans.
And you guys have a new video coming out, right? You have a teaser out. What's that about?
We have a teaser. Yeah, when we put out the Ranger Lake Loop, which is like our very first thing that we ever did and put out, we did it haphazardly. So we had a little bit of time over the last few months to re-edit, to reverse the camera angles that were reversed, and to basically put a new score in and everything. So in a couple of weeks, we're going to be re-releasing as one sort of feature-length 2-hour film of the Ranger Lake Loop. We're pretty stoked about that.
Cool. Yeah, we just watched the trailer. It looks awesome.
Awesome. Thank you.
Don't do that trip.
It's a tough trip, and we were saying how tough it was while we were doing it, but I'll tell you, I'm ready to do it. I'll do it every year. Sheri might not. I might have to do it solo.
Cool. And how about you, Alex? Where are people going to find you?
Same thing on YouTube and on Instagram. Tents and Timber, right there. Just kind of the way it's spelt. You can find us there. We do YouTube videos every now and then with all our adventures, and then like in between trips, we have all of our stuff on Instagram.
Cool. And links are in the description below, people. So if you want a quick link to their website or their YouTube channels, by all means, do check that out. Well, you know what, y'all, thank you very much. Fun evening. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you. Man, I'm looking forward to, you're all going to the Outdoor Adventure Show, right?
We'll be
Absolutely.
there.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Oh,
You're not making it.
sneak your way
Hey,
down
we'll-
somehow.
We'll come up and see you, Rob, on the way home.
That sounds good. I'm right in Bala.
There we go. That's awesome. I look forward to seeing you guys there. Like I say, Kid Products booth. You'll find Kevin and I there, right next to the Adventures and Paddling stage. Kevin's going to be there with all kinds of books for sale, signing them, having a good time, and a bunch of presentations going on. So I hope to see everybody out there, guys and gals. Thanks very much for tuning in with us tonight.
Thank
you so much.
Yeah, thank you. So nice.
I'm going to drop you all into the green room for a moment here while I close up shop, and we'll see you in a few moments. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There we go. Hey, like I said, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. I hope everybody enjoys tonight's show. I had these 3 particular couples on. There was a 4th couple that I wanted on as well, but it just didn't work out. It wasn't in the cards for tonight. But you know what? Very, very, it was a lot of fun just getting to learn a little bit more about all these people and, their relationships related to the backcountry. Hopefully you have a significant other that you love to share the backcountry with, or you know what, maybe it's a best friend or a buddy or something like that. Regardless, get out there and enjoy the backcountry. Just as a reminder, last week we do not have an episode coming up because I'll be on vacay, but we will be back on the 28th, probably talking a little bit about the Toronto Outdoor Adventure Show and what maybe you got to see or maybe what you may have missed by not being able to go because you're not in the area or whatever it may be. Anyways, so we will see you on the 28th. I hope everybody has a fantastic 2 weeks. And please do remember, everybody, keep the adventures alive. Talk to you soon.